Good afternoon, everyone. This is Rebecca from Hong Kong Libraries. Welcome to today's webinar, the JCR Essentials Journal Matrix in Practice. This is the second webinar of the Joint E-Resources Discovery Week 2026, organized by the 7 JULAC libraries in Hong Kong. As you may be aware, this event is a collaborative initiative by JULAC libraries to introduce the library-subscribed e-resources available to support your learning, teaching, and research. Today, we are honored to have Daniel deliver this training. Daniel is a certified career Web of Science and Journal Citation Reports trainer at iGroup Hong Kong. With a strong interest in research support and scholarly communication, Daniel is committed to helping researchers across disciplines build practical skills in using bibliometric tools and metrics to strengthen their literature reviews, journal selection, and overall research strategy. So here are a few quick housekeeping notes for today's session. This session will be recorded, and the recording will be shared afterwards. Please use the Q&A box to send questions during the presentation, and we will address them during the dedicated Q&A session at the end. And without further ado, may I pass the session to Daniel. And Daniel, please, you may unmute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Hi, guys. Welcome, everyone. Today, we will explore how Journal Citation Reports, or JCR, helps you evaluate journals with reliable data from impact factors to percentiles and quartiles. By the end of this session, you will know how to identify trust journals and make smarter publishing decisions. So remember, not just impact factors matters because we offer so many different kinds of metrics for your reference on JCR. So let's get started. So here is the agenda. First of all, I'm going to talk about the background of JCR, about the latest release, which is in 2025, and I will go to quickly explain the key metrics of JCR. After that, I will demonstrate and show you the basic interface and some features of JCR. After that, I will summarize today's workshop, and then a Q&A session will be held. So first of all, you may wonder, what is a JCR? So before I introducing JCR to you, maybe just think about after finishing research, actually, what shall we do after that? Maybe we have to look for the related journals or the journals that is suitable for your publications, and then you may be wonder, which journal shall I submit my publications to? So therefore, we have to use the database and choose wisely by selecting high impact journals for publications. So you have to make use of JCR's metrics. The metrics helps you to select those journals for your publications. So one of its important functions is to assist researchers in publishing articles. It helps you to understand or know the performance of journals from different fields. Well, maybe you may consider, for example, in my field, how many journals are there? For example, if there are 500 journals in a specific field, which of these 500 journals is more influential? You may think of the multiple journals for your publications. Which are they? Then JCR can help you make these decisions by providing comprehensive journal data analysis. There are more than 48,000 active academic journals worldwide, and that makes it harder than ever for researchers to choose where to publish. More journals don't always mean more opportunities. It somehow means that more confusions or cause more confusions to you. So we may need to use the tools that use data to guide our choice. So the JCR analyze citation data from the Web of Science core collections to show the journal performance and impact. With JCR, you can find journals that best match your research goals and publication strategy. So we are a reliable and neutral journal evaluation tool because it provides transparent publishing neutral data because our Web of Science editorial team cannot serve as editor-in-chief in a conference or for a journal, and our data are based on the Web of Science core collections. So the statistics can help you to decide which journals to publish in your institution. The JCR provides a comprehensive citation landscape supporting the journal impact in a more accountable and multidimensional way through citation profiles that provide context, transparency, and deeper insights. Build citation metrics alongside descriptive open access statistics and contributor information for a comprehensive understanding of each journal. So there are four features of JCR. For the first one is the selectivity. You may quickly find a list of trust influential journals across all disciplines. Each journal features meets the quality standards documented in the Web of Science core collections editorial selection process. As I mentioned, our editorial team was neutral. The journal metrics require cover-to-cover indexing. It means that we do not only offer full tests not the full test, but the citation data of the journal articles on Web of Science. So because of this, we can provide more accurate metrics. So for the reliability, use reliable metrics based on accurate and complete data. Journals with excessive self-citations and citation stacking issues will have their impact factor suppressed from the impact factors to safeguard the research integrity of scholarly publishing. I will go through that later. So for the third feature is the transparency, as I mentioned for many times, easily uncover the relationship between article and journal citations to adhere to best practice in research evaluation. So last but not least, for the diversity of JCR, because we provide multiple views of journal impact, you may assess journal impact from multiple perspectives. For example, field citation metrics, descriptive open access statistics, and contributor information. So the JCR actually provides more than just a journal's impact factor. It is a hub of metrics provided as part of the journal profile. One of our major key metrics is the JIF, which is the journal impact factor. It's a widely used metric for assessing the impacts of scholarly journals, although it has limitations and should not be sole criterion for evaluating quality. That's why we offer more and more metrics for your reference. The JIF is a ratio which defines the number of citations a journal receives by the number of published articles. So JCR has provided journal evaluation for more than 50 years. The JIF is a journal level metric that was released with the first JCR in 1975 and has provided journal evaluation for 50 years. And of course, we adjust our policy according to the changing scholarly environment. So before I tell you about the adjustment for the latest update, I would like to give you a brief overview of JCR, which are the citation data in 2024, which is published in our latest release in 2025. And I guess for the 2026 release, which is the citation data in 2025, is because the update is still undergoing at this point. I cannot guarantee you that we can make it available very soon, but I think the latest release will be available as soon as possible. So for the latest release in 2025, there are over 22,000 of journals here. As you can see, from more than 100 countries and classified into our 254 categories or fields, which is same as the Web of Science. So more than 600 journals are newly added titles that are receiving impact factors for the first year this year. One thing that really sets JCR apart is that it actively curates journals instead of just counting data. If a journal shows unusual citation behavior, like excessive self-citation, its impact factor can be withheld. This year, 20 journals were suppressed, but they can regain their impact factor after editorial review this year. So starting with the latest review, the 2025, the JIF calculation will exclude citations to and from reject and withdrawn publications. These citations will be visible in the applications, clearly marked with their status. Calculating complete journal metrics requires covered buffer indexing, as I mentioned. Therefore, partially indexed journals will still appear in the JCR with relevant profile information, but are not eligible for journal impact factors or any other journal level citation metrics or rankings. So why did we introduce the rejection policy for the latest update? There's an analysis by Nature showed that more than 10,000 papers were rejected in 2023, making it a record year for rejections. The growing number of rejections can cause public mistrust in research, negatively impact future research, and harm the reputations of authors, institutions, and even journals. So we want to make sure that users can continue using reliable, publisher-neutral tools that provide transparent and comprehensive metrics to help evaluate journals effectively. So that's why we introduced the retention policy last year. And after the brief introduction to the background of the JCR, I want to introduce the key metrics of JCR as the second part of our training. So the first one, as I have mentioned earlier, is the JIF, which is the Journal Impact Factor. It is a journal-level citation metric calculated from data in the Web of Science core collections. It primarily reflects the average number of citations per article in a journal in a given year. This metric helps us assess a journal's impact and is often used to compare different journals. So this graph actually shows the calculation of JIF, but the latest update, JIF is calculated by taking the citations in 2024 to items published in the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, and dividing them by the number of citable items in the last 2 years. Maybe you will wonder, what are the citable items? Actually, for JCR, the citable items refers to the research article and review article of a journal. In short, it is the number of citations a typical article or review received in the JCR year. You don't have to memorize these calculation because it might be complicated. You just this slide is just for your reference that how do we calculate our JIF. So this graph actually shows, because we have already introduced the rejection policy last year. So this graph actually shows the changes of the JIF calculation based on our latest rejection policy. So starting from 2025, the JCR release excludes citations to and from rejected content in the journal impact factors to support continued integrity in journal evaluation. So excluding citations to and from rejected content in the JIF calculations numerator, while rejected paper remain counted in the denominator, reduce the risk of metric inflation due to flawed work and reinforce accountability in scholarly publishing. So filling excluded citations on each journal profile page enable users to easily understand whether and how each journal's JIF is impacted by rejections. Again, the calculation is just for your reference only. You don't really need to memorize or to just remember the calculations, how does it work at this point. But I want to show you that under the rejection policy, which is introduced last year, what kinds of change for the journals do we have here? As you can see, this example, it is a typical journal citation activity with a large number of citations and citable items, 4,000 and 810 and 10 citations right here. Out of these citations, four of them were to or from checked content and will now be excluded from the JIF calculations. So after excluding 4 citations, you may see that while it is actually a relatively small percentage of the citations and actually does not change the JIF, as you can see after calculation. You can see that the JIF for the 2024 actually remains unchanged, is unchanged at this point. So you may think that, well, when will be changed for the JIF under the retraction policy? So I will deliver the second example, so it just lets you to know what kinds of changes do we have here. As you can see, this shows a journal citation activity for a journal with a small number of citations and citable items. Out of the 10 citations, 2 of them were to or from retracted content and will now be excluded from the JIF calculations. So 2 citations excluded out of 10 is a much larger percentage at this point. So the impact will be much greater on the JIF score, as you can see, because it got 2 citations were removed from the calculations. So you can see that the JIF here is deducted from 1 to 0.8. But for your information, in the latest update in 2025, there's about 10% of journals will have some citation removed due to retract paper, but only around 1% will actually see the JIF change. Actually, you can see that the change is not that great at this point. So just for your information here. And then after that, I want to introduce another key metrics, which is related to the impact factor, the JIF, which is the JIF quartile. It is divided into Q1 to Q4, where Q1 represents high impact journals with an impact factors ranking in the top 25% within the research area. So Q2 journals rank between the 25% to 50% range and so forth. So the journal impact factors percentile, the JIF percentile shows how a journal ranks compared to others in the same field. It takes each journal's impact factor and turns it into a percentage, so it is falls within, say, the top 10%, top 20%, and so forth. So the JIF percentile in category tells us how a journal performs compared with others in the same subject area. It's based on the JIF, but expressed as a percentile ranking. For example, if a journal with a 90% percentile means its JIF is higher than 90% of journal in that category. So it's among the top 10%. Meanwhile, a 50 percentile journal sits right in the middle. Its impact is average compared with others in the same field. This percentile field is useful because citation patterns vary by discipline. So instead of just comparing JIF numbers directly, you can see how strong a journal truly is within its research field. So after the impact factor part, I would like to spend some time on this JCI, which is the Journal Citation Indicators. We offer this one because the JCI actually measures the normalized citation impact of the journal compared to its peer group. So there's some standard of JCI here, the guideline here. If the JCI of 1 indicates average performance. So if you see that if a journal has a JCI of 2, you may say that it has about 2 times the average citation impact for its field. So higher than 1, it means that the journal's performance is above average. If the JCI is lower than 1, it means that the performance of the journal is below average. As you can see in this picture, you can see that this one is used for our calculations for JCI actually. So the JCI is a normalized matrix. By using it, you can also use this for comparison outside of the immediate subject category. The Journal Impact Factors, JIF, and Journal Citation Indicators, JCI, both provide complementary perspectives on the journal's performance, so you may use both metrics together in your evaluations. As I mentioned in the part of JIF, actually, we do not recommend you to just compare the journals or to review the journal's impact by using one single metrics here. Instead, we recommend you to refer to both JIF and JCI, the two key metrics, at the same time when reviewing or investigating the journals. So this graph, again, is the calculation of JCI, but the difference of JCI and between JCI and JIF is that JCI, by contrast, takes citations in 4 years. So let's say 2024 as an example, from 2021 to 2024, and dividing them by citable items published in 3 years. It means that from 2021 to 2023, so that expanding the content that's included. You don't have to, again, you don't have to remember the calculation. It's just for your information here. But other than that, we also provide additional metrics for you to evaluate the journal's performance based on our accurate and neutral data with visualization provided. Feel free to discover our metrics. So next part is the user interface and basic functions here. I will leave this because I will leave this PowerPoint for your reference later, so you can come back to this PowerPoint if you have any questions. But today I'm going to demonstrate the JCR instead of just talk about the slides. So here is the JCR homepage. As you can see, the homepage is like this. Okay, let's begin with the one search box here, which is in the middle in white. You can type the title, ISSN, field or discipline, publishers, countries or regions to start searching for the journals that is on JCR. But instead, I would like to say that there are different ways to search for journals here. For example, you can see here, see full listings and refine your search by journals, categories, publishers, countries, or regions. Actually, you can make use of these 4 ways to conduct your search on JCR. Actually, these 4 buttons can be found on the top navigation bar next to the JCR. So I'll begin with the journal search first. So let's go to the journals. Let's click journal, and you can see there are all the journals here. You may find that, oh, actually it's quite complicated and there's a large amount of journals here. So maybe you want to refine the search results at this point. You may just simply click filter, which is on the left-hand side. You can see the black button, I guess, green and black button. You can see the filter. You just click filter and then to choose what kinds of criteria you'd like to include or exclude at this point to refine your search results. For example, here, journals, I want to specify the categories because I want to review the whole field. For example, business, then I can select business here and then click apply. And then you can see that, oh, after filtering the search results, there are only about 317 journals here. You can see, the filter actually helps you to refine your search results so that you can identify or find out the journals accurately and efficiently. So for this page, actually, you can see all the basic information here with some metrics. The basic information is on the left-hand side, and the metrics are on the right-hand side. As you can see, the addition, SSCI, you can see the addition actually refers to the Web of Science core collections, including SCIE, SSCI, Arts and Humanities, emerging sources, 4 major additions. And then you can see the total citations numbers, and then you can see the metrics. For example, in this page, you can find the GIF from 2024. As I mentioned that because the report that we released in 2025 are based on the data we collected in 2024. So for the upcoming update, which is approximately released in June, I think, the data collected are from the collected data will be from those data in 2025, and we release data, release the analysis in 2026 this year. So you can see that there are some metrics here, the GIF, quartile, JCI, the open access percentage here. If you want to change the indicators for this page, actually you can make use of our indicators button here. You can see that it's by default right now. You can change to impact. If you choose impact, you can show you may see that the impact the impact factors GIF will be shown on this page. But if you remember, we don't only refer to a single matrix at this point. So you may want to find the normalized indicators, which is the JCI. Again, go back to the indicators button. You can click normalized. And then you will see the normalized indicators here, including rank, quartile, percentile, etc. If you want to find the source here, not find the source here, but change the indicators into source-based here, you can also change it by clicking the indicators button. But actually, if you think that, well, these four types of indicators don't match my preference, or I refer to other mixed indicators instead, it's fine, because you can make use of our customizations here, which is on the right-hand side. You can click customize, and then you can choose the metrics that you want to show on this page. For example, I just want to take a look of the GIF and JCI. You can just click and then apply, and then you will see that, oh, I got only these metrics that I really want. Just for your information here, just want to show you that we can customize the search results. Actually, it's just similar to Web of Science. But because JCR is a journal level database, you can only access journals here. Okay, so let me see. And then another ways to find journals is that, let me clear the filter first. Reset the filter first. And then actually you can go to the categories page. Categories by group here, because the 254 categories are based on the categories released of Web of Science. If you are still, maybe you are wondering, which field shall I take a look of? Take a look. You can just go to this page, categories, which is available on the navigation bar. You can see that there are many different fields here. If you think that, oh, my field actually is history, then you can just click one of them, and then to choose history instead. You can see that, oh, there is one category out of 21 groups. You can just click history, and then you can just easily browse those journals of the specific field here. Okay, so far here. So another way to find is the publishers, which is on the navigation bar. You can click publishers. Just for your information, you can just make use of publisher search or countries of region search if you want to. So after I introduced the different ways to search on JCR, I'm going to tell you about the full records of a single journal here. So for this one, let me go back to business first. Okay, go back to the business journals. You can see that there are so many journals, right? So I click the first one, Academy of Management Annals. So you can see that after clicking into the page, you can see that the full record, this is the full records page. We call it as a full records page for this journal. You can, for the first section, you can find all the basic information here. For example, which edition from where of science is from, the languages, region, ISSN, etc. You can find all the basic information here. But if you want to change, like you want to export the journal data here, you can just click export, which is at the top right corner. And click export and export this full records page as a PDF form. If you want to browse another JCR year, you can just click JCR year on the top left corner. At this point, because the latest release in 2025 is about the data in 2024, so you can see the JCL year currency is up to 2024. You can trace back up to 2010 for this journal because the different journals have different JCL years here. I mean, the duration or the times of release. So you can just for your reference, you can just trace back to the year that you want to browse. So after you scroll down on the full records page, you can see the journal's performance. The first metrics, as you can see, is the journal impact factor, the GIF. You can see it's 16.5 here, just for your reference here. And then you can see under the GIF, you can see there's a graph here, including the GIF trend. What's the performance in the past few years in terms of GIF, and also the GIF percentile in category. For the right-hand side, you can see that, wow, there are so many words here. What are they? Actually, because these are because on the left-hand side is the analysis, right? Is the result. So on the right-hand side, because we want to show our transparency of the calculation of impact factor, so we actually offer the details of calculations, especially for the citable items and citing sources. Citing sources here, just for your reference. But if you want to, of course, you can export these information and data. So we scroll down, and then you can see there's an other key metrics that I mentioned earlier, which is the JCI, the average, the normalized indicator. Actually, it is calculated by the average category normalized citation impact, which you can find on Web of Science here. But after the normalization and calculations of each journal articles, so this year, in the 2024, you can find that JCI is 3.06. So actually, average, it is slightly high, it is higher than average, actually. You can see that 3.06 here. So on the right-hand side, you can see the total citations number here. You can see there's a trend here by looking at our visualized graph here. For example, for JCI, actually, this journal is like declining, I guess. So, but for the total citations number is somehow it is increasing at this point. So you may find that, oh, actually it's quite, it might be strange to you, but because we calculate, we analyze all the data here, so it shows you the actual results here. So if you want to view all years, you can just click view all years on the left-hand side for each graph here, just for your reference. Because later I will try to highlight the difference between GIF and JCI. So if you are still curious about GIF and JCI, just maybe wait for the last session so that maybe I can answer your questions here. So when we scroll down, we can see the citation distribution here, just for your reference to see the citable items in the JCR year. For your reference here, And after scroll down, we can see more metrics here. For example, this one is about open access. Open access here for the items and the citations. Items, it means the citable items. Remember, the citable items only refers to the research articles and the review paper of the journal, in the journal. So after we scroll down, we can see that the ranks here by JIF here. So for this journal, actually the influence is quite high here. It's quite influential at this point. For example, in the category of business, actually it ranked the first here for according to the JIF. And because this journal actually does not only cover the category of business, but instead it includes the category of management as well. So you can see both rank at the same page here. You can see that according to the JIF, the rank is like the second for the management and the first of business. Actually, based on this information, actually we can say that wow, this journal in business actually is very influential. But after normalized, you can see that another rank, which is based on the JCI, the normalized indicators here. So you can see that, well, the rank is slightly lower than the JIF rank here. Because after normalization, we can see we want to make more accurate for our information. So after normalization, we can see that, oh, actually it ranks slightly lower than the JIF because JIF is calculated entirely by the citations number. For the JCI, we will think about, oh, if there's something special happened in the journals. For example, one of the journals and the citation numbers entirely is calculated on or relied on a single passage or paper on the same article, on the same journal, actually it could affect the JIF. But after normalization, you can, because we put it as our consideration here during the normalization progress, so you can see that the JCI actually can show you a normalized ranking here. So for management, but I think this one personally think that this journal is still influential even after normalization. So so we can scroll down and we can refer to the citation network. A few metrics that I would like to highlight is the first one is the cited half-life, which is on the left-hand side. It is the median number of years since the journal's publication that the articles were cited in the JCR. For the citing half-life, on the right-hand side, is the median age of articles cited in other publications within the journal during the JCR years. So at this point, for such case, a cited half-life of 7.9 means the journal's article continued to be cited maybe for a relatively long time, right? 7.9. So for citing half-life of 9.8 years means that these journals authors also tend to cite relatively older literature. It's almost 10 years, right? So you can see that the citation and the cited the citations here is to see the age of the citations, of the cited references here. And the next one is the journal citation relationship here. Actually, this graph is very useful because if once you finished your research paper and you're going to consider which journal I should go for, maybe this graph can help you to find more related journals here. Maybe you think that, oh, maybe for example, you find that, oh, this journal is just too influential. If I don't want to try to submit my publications to this journal, you may find other related or similar journals here because they have a more frequent journal citations relationships. So for this journal, actually, there's a journal called Journal of Management Studies, I guess. because it's just a short form here. You can just click and then to see at the journal that has a closer citation relationship with this one, and then to see and then to review it and investigate further and to see and decide if this journal is also suitable for your publications. So you can make use of the journal citation relationships to locate and identify more possibilities for your publications. So for the last few content metrics, actually, it's just for your reference here. But I want to highlight the contribution by organizations here. It is somehow useful if you are going to have a research project. Maybe you can think of about looking for some cooperation with other organizations, and because maybe I'm interested in submit the publications to this journal, or I really want to have a research project in this field. Maybe you can, from the contributions by organizations, you can find out some identify some potential organization to have to conduct your cooperation with for your upcoming or future research. And same case for the country or region here on the right hand side. And for the additional metrics here, because these metrics actually, well, you can go back, you can go to this page, additional metrics, if you really want to refer these as your metrics when deciding the journals or investigating journals. Otherwise, I don't recommend. I personally think that these metrics would be much more complicated here, so I'm not going to introduce them right now in today's workshop here. So here are the basic functions or buttons or features of the JCR. So after introducing these features, I want to highlight another three functions on JCR, which can help you in when you're using JCR or discovering journals. So first function is the compare function, which is on the top right corner. You can see there's compare button. Actually, you can compare up to 4 journals at the same time. But if you use this, if you click compare button, you will come to this page, and then at this point, you have to type the journal's title here. For example, I type business history. Yep, I have got business history. You have to memorize the title of the journal. So actually, I don't recommend you to conduct comparison through this page. Instead, you can go back to journal search. As I mentioned, go back to journal search because I applied filters here, so you can see all the business journals here. If you really, really want to compare different journals at the same time, you can click the box which is next to the journal title, up to 4 journals at the same time. For example, I click the top 4 here, and then I will click compare, which is on the top in the bottom right corner. Click compare, and then you can come back to this page and you will see all the information metrics of these 4 journals at the same time. And of course, you can trace back to different JCR year because our latest updates is in 2024. So you can go back to, for example, during the COVID-19, 2020, and then to see the performance, the influence, if they are affected or not, you can just chase back and then to see, oh, actually their performance are quite similar, I guess. Yeah, here. Because JCI, actually, you can see the JCI and JIF here, the trend here. So this is the comparison function that I want to introduce. Another function is that we highly recommend you to register for an account on Clarify because for the Web of Science, you can create your own research profile and to show your works on Web of Science. But for the JCR, you can register your personal account and try to create your favorite list of journals. So how do we do actually? Uh, Actually, you can see that I have already logging in. I recommend you to register for an account by using your institution or university email address, and then try to maybe for in this page, the 317 business journals here, maybe I'm interested in the top 5 journals here. And then because I cannot compare because it's up to 4 journals at the same time as I mentioned, I want to add them to my favorite list. So I click all these 5 journals and click add to favorites list, which is next to the compare button. And then you can create a list. It's just like when you're listening to music, you can create a playlist consists of your favorite songs. At this point, you can create your favorite list containing your favorite journals here. Maybe you want to just, for example, because maybe we are going to release our next updates this year in July. Maybe you really want to. Oh, really want to know how was the impact or how's the results after evaluation results of this journal. You can create a list first. So after you logging in, go to my favorites, which is next to the compare button on the navigation bar. You can come back to the list. You can check the most recent JCR year. So the next update will be 2025, and then you can see the GIF JCI to see the latest changes or the latest metrics, latest results and impact of the journals that you are interested in. So this is my favorite functions. And then, of course, for the favorite list, if you want to share with your friends, classmates, advisors, colleagues, you can just click export, which is on the top right corner. But so far, we only provide the Excel format for you to download, for you to export the data of journals. So last but not least, I want to highlight the very last functions of JCR. On the home page, maybe you have already realized that there's a match my manuscript function here. Actually, this is a useful function because it helps you to find a reputable, relevant journals for your publications. So how does it work? Let me show you. So on this page, on the home page of JCR, you can click Match My Manuscript. And then you will see this page. After you can see that manuscript matcher. If you have maybe in the scenario that you have already finished your paper and then have a draft abstract or title, actually you can copy and paste your abstract. Actually, this time I prepare one. And then if you don't have the title, it's fine. But generally, I recommend you to try this function by not uploading, but typing the abstract here. This one is about the COVID-19 fascination here. So I click Find Journals. So in this platform, you can find that the keywords were generated by the system. And then because actually we focus on our core collections here, as I mentioned, the 4 major core collections of the Web of Science. So we can see that after we can search for the different, we can match with your manuscript or abstract or title with the journals that we have here. You can see that this one for the first one, New England Journal of Medicine, the match score is 0.99 here. Maybe you can consider to submit your research to this journal. Other than that, of course, here, even though the match score is lower, but you may consider to submit your applications to these journals if you don't want to submit to the first journals that mentioned in the search results. It's just for your preference, but it helps you a lot when you are looking for a journals for your publications. Actually, it helps a lot here. So let me see. I think here are all the features that I would like to demonstrate here. So I'm going to summarize it quickly for today's workshop. Actually, JCR helps your research. You may efficiently review journal data in various fields by obtaining publications information through annual journal and analysis reports. There are comprehensive features and metrics to help you analyze journal performance and help you decide on your publication's intentions and find the suitable journals to publish your research. So, two key metrics in JCR here, as I have already explained in the previous session, so I'm not going to repeat here. However, I want to highlight the difference between JIF and JCI because some of the users may be wondering what's the difference actually? When shall I use JIF or JCI? Actually, remember that JIF, Journal Impact Factor, is to evaluate the citation impact of the journals. The calculation is entirely based on the citation numbers. So if you want to conduct a comparison of the journals between the journals in the same field, or you want to find other core journals or mature journals, or compare the core journals and mature journals, you have to make use of JIF. But the JCI, if you want to evaluate the relative performance of the journal in the field, you may refer to JCI. Additionally, if you want to compare multidisciplinary journals, for example, because they have different citation density, culture, so you cannot just compare two different journals from different disciplines by using JIF. Instead, you have to use the normalized indicators, which is the JCI for multidisciplinary scenario here. So you can find that actually there are two different scenarios instead. If the JIF is high but JCI is low, it is possible that more citations in the journal got more citations, but the performance actually is just average in the same field. But if you find that if a journal is low in JIF but high in JCI, although there are less citations for this journal, but actually the performance is excellent in the field. So we have different possible reasons lead to such results here. So if you find that high in JIF but low in JCI, we recommend you to review the consistency of the performance of the journal articles on Web of Science. But if you face to the low in JIF but high in JCI for a journal, actually we recommend you to conduct a few explorations or to try to think about to conduct multidisciplinary research at this time. So a few friendly reminder, because currently only the data in 2024 we collected are analyzed, so we released the update in 2025 is the currently available version of JCR. I cannot guarantee you that we will be available because the update is in progress for this year, the data in 2025. I cannot guarantee you we can make it available in June, but hopefully it will be available in June. So you may wonder, if I really want to investigate this journal further by browsing the journal articles, what shall we do? You have to go back to the Web of Science because Web of Science consists of the detailed citation records, details of each journal articles that we collect on the core collection. So you cannot browse full text on JCR because we only offer all the data on a journal basis.